Here we go.
Welcome,
Welcome.
Friday Live, SeAnDawn.
It's not Friday, but we are here.
Could be.
It could be a Friday. It's a Friday. It's not even Friday somewhere.
You don't
I don't know. All right. Lots of good things to talk
Lots to
about.
talk about today.
Lots and lots to talk about. First topic. When is a good time to diet?
Back on our nutrition series.
Back on our nutrition series.
Yes.
We talked about this last week. How to find balance in summertime activities. Can be complicated, but we'll throw out some ideas there.
Mm-hmm.
First episode 1, a knee replacement journey, and we'll explain what that means. And it's going to be with someone that's in this room.
Could it be?
Could it be? We'll have a little challenge update. We'll talk about our featured cafe product today. We'll celebrate some birthdays and our featured athlete.
Yep.
And that's our lineup today. So stick with us. Lots to cover as we go through this. So let's talk about, when is it a good time to diet?
Yes. Good question. We get this all the time. I would say almost every single consultation for nutrition, we kind of start here and we first determine, is this even a good time for this member, this athlete to consider dieting down? So when we say the word diet, I always kind of put it in quotes because we don't like the word diet to begin with. And how we use it, when we use the word diet, it doesn't mean maybe what you think. So it doesn't mean that we put you on a diet specific, or it doesn't mean that we recommend keto or paleo or zone or whatever it might be. So it's not a specific format or plan that we give you. Instead, when we use the word diet, what we mean by that is that you have goals. Maybe it's aesthetic goals, maybe it's losing body fat, maybe you're trying to put muscle on, whatever your goals that need nutrition help. That is when we go into what we call a diet cycle. And that means that it's a short-term, temporary thing that we're doing for, a period of weeks, 12 to 14 weeks usually, with a specific goal in mind with that member. So,
well, and so I think also one thing that people don't realize sometimes is Dawn's goal, and my goal too, but she's primary on this, is she tries to make the food that you like to eat and the drinks you like to have work within your nutrition lifestyle.
Right.
So if you like to eat frugals, we try to make that work, right? If you'd like to have a beer, we educate you how that works, right? And so when you say there's not keto, paleo, it's however you prefer to eat, what food that you like,
it's your preferences,
with some education,
what works for you.
which I think is really important, because that's, if it's going to be a lifestyle change and it's going to become part of your everyday method of just fueling your body, it needs to be enjoyable. It needs to fit your lifestyle.
Yes.
So anyways.
Yeah, and that's exactly the next steps that we go through with an individual is 3 primary questions that we go through when we decide, is this a good time for you to go into one of those diet cycles? Number 1, if fat loss is your goal, is a calorie deficit involved? If your answer is no, or you don't know, right, we come back to the science. The basic science of nutrition is
Calories in, calories out.
Right.
Sorry, she took me on the spot. Hopefully I answered that right.
So if you consume more calories than you burned, right, you could gain weight. If you consume less calories than you burned, right, obviously you're in a deficit and you should lose weight. Obviously we know there's many more factors, but it starts there, and people try to make it way more complicated than it needs to be. That is the science, that is the basics of it. So number 1, is a caloric deficit involved, right? Number 2, can you still enjoy the foods that you love? Can you enjoy your favorite foods and still successfully diet down? If your answer is no, then I would say you need to reevaluate, because the more restrictive your plan is, the less sustainable it is long term.
Yes.
Your lifestyle, your diet, whatever, it needs to be something that you can do long term, which leads us to question 3. Could you realistically follow this diet forever? Diet forever, right? So we're more about educating people to eat based on their goals, to know where their protein, know where their calories are, right? And then you mix in what you love. So most of the time you're reaching for those healthy choices, 80% of the time, right? 20% you're just living life. Perfect example We went to the lake. Or paddleboarded on the weekend, right? We stopped and we had a Granny's ice cream cone.
It might have been 10 a.m. too. I think it was.
It's our first one this summer.
Yeah.
However, we love that. It was a special treat, right? It's not bad. So you need to do away with these are the good foods. I only eat this. I don't eat bread. I don't eat pasta. I don't eat milk. All these things that people think are bad. I don't eat sugar. All of that. There's a place for it within your diet and your goals. So a diet that isn't sustainable is a diet that doesn't work.
I would agree. That's very good. And
So-
I know your clients that work with you, I hear them have these aha moments of like, once they go through the education process, and once again, Dawn tries to teach you to fish. We're not trying to sell you to a fish every month, right? We want to teach you and say, go swim
do
on, go live your
Go
life.
teach your family.
Is that they're like, is it really this simple?
Yes.
And they get this aha moment, and they feel like how they've been misled by the diet industry,
Yes.
which it really is. I mean, it's unfair, especially to ladies, that diet industry of how they treat the female mindset, and really just they keep you in a trap.
Yeah.
And instead
They
of
prey
teaching,
on your vulnerability.
they very much
and they
do.
know that women especially are desperate to, look and be a certain way.
And I also think it's important to realize that if you do want to work with us on this, realize that we only have a certain amount of bandwidth to do per cycle that we're working with people, because
Correct.
it does take a lot of hand holding and education and sit down meetings with yourself and talking about things. You become a life coach in so many ways. We were both life coaches on this, but definitely in that mental cycle, you're a life coach for them and helping them navigate some, foreign concepts that they might be, or some things that they're just not really like, wow.
And really helping people work through the mindset, and the triggers that we have, and
Yeah.
some of the traps that we've fallen into and why we've fallen there. And almost, I would say, such a high percentage of people, the reason why they've failed in the past is because it was too restrictive.
Well,
It's 100% hardcore all in, which means when you're not there, you're usually 0% all out.
yeah.
And people don't understand that the success is found somewhere in the middle there, in finding balance. And like Sean said, we love helping people with
We
this.
do.
So just remember with our nutrition, right, we have full services here. So we do that 14-week really managed plan with people, which is kind of like the Mac Daddy of our nutrition stuff. It
Yeah.
includes all the in-bodies and all of the hand holding, all of that. But not everyone needs that much help.
Yeah.
So if you just have questions and you just want like an in-body scan and me to help you walk through that, set up what your calories should look like starting out, how do I track, I can give you some tips and things, and then release you to go off on your own and just use me as a resource.
Yeah.
So there's no need to, like, if you just need a little bit of help, right, we do that all the time, and that's easy. So don't hesitate to reach out,
Yeah.
ask us your questions.
And-
We love that stuff.
And current members, you'll see how to reach out to us, just like new members at the end of the video. If you're trying to schedule an appointment to talk about that, we have 2 different scheduling options, one for members, one for non-members, to talk about things. Okay?
Also, if you've done nutrition with us in the past,
it's-
I have now new clients doing nutrition that we've done nutrition with, maybe 3 years back. And I have to say, if you did that with us before several years ago, it looks very different now.
100% different.
Now that we don't have those options, but for most people, it's not needed.
Yeah.
This works much, much more effective. So just know things look different now, so you might want to sit down and learn about what we offer now.
Exactly, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yep.
So this is a hard one. We've been talking about this quite a bit, is how to find balance with, we'll say, summertime activities right now, but it's just anything that life gets to you. You know, it's now baseball season, your kids have
Right.
baseball, and you're out
Coach.
and you're coaching and all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
Vacations, weddings, social events, all of those things that fill up our summer times. Kids are out of school. Maybe you can't come to the class you normally did because you're with your kids. So many factors that throw at us this time of year.
in fact, we had
Yeah.
a talk with one of our athletes this morning
Yeah.
who was having a hard time, and we recognize that she was
Yeah.
having a hard time. and
Lots of
sat down.
circumstances thrown at her right
Absolutely.
now. Out of her control.
Life was a fire hydrant, and just hit her in the face. We have several athletes that occurs to. It happens to us too, right? And I think the simplest thing is to remember that no matter what, you can almost in all cases prioritize an hour for yourself and finding that. And no matter what, you need to do that because the more stressful life is or imbalanced it is in your life, the more you need that.
Right.
You need that one anchor point that, and she admitted, as soon as she gets in the door and she gets it done, whether it looks totally different, she feels so much better
Yeah.
about herself. And that's true with activities or injuries or anything. You have to make that priority. So it can mean, hey, maybe I go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I know I have something going on Sunday that's likely to go late, right? And you're an early morning person, right? Okay, be honest with yourself. Know that ahead of time and set up a plan saying, I'm going to try to hit Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday if you're a 3-day person, right? Or if you're a 5-day person or a 4-day person, you can still push that out. You could try to add that in. Doesn't always mean that you need to add extra. It might be okay to sit there and say, you know what? I have this activity. I've been pretty good. I've been pretty consistent with myself. I'm going to allow the grace for myself to have a day off. No big deal. Don't beat yourself up on that. Right? But if you find that pattern constantly, I'm going to take this day off, I'm going to take this day off, I'm going to take this day off, because it's an easy out, that's the slippery slope. And that's the part where you have to have that little gut check with yourself and say, I'm going to make this a priority, right? Vacations come up, all those things come up, injuries come up, all of them come up, right? And we will modify everything for you. So even if you just want to come in here and stretch, right? We've told you before that consistency over time, the pattern of you following your healthy habits consistently over time are going to pay off. So if you consistently come in at 9 a.m. but you're not quite feeling like it right now, but you still come in and Coach Rusty or Chase, whichever one, throws you on a bike and says, hey, why don't you just sit here, be part of the class, have some conversations, we'll come over and high five you for a bit. But just hey, you have this injury going on. You know, let's work through this. Also, real quick on injuries and stuff. We work quite a bit with people that have injuries, and we have athletes right now that, you know, people get injuries not from here, from life outside. Not that it's, you know. We like to work with your PT, so we always ask, who is your physical therapist, and what protocols do they have you on? And if you don't know what that is, your PT does, right?
Your list of exercises.
And we'll see that, and we'll be able to sit there and go, okay, we see where they're working. Okay, we could do all of these protocols, and here are just other things that will complement those same protocols.
Right. So here's a plan for you. Let's incorporate this into your warm up, and we really like to work hand in hand.
So
alongside those,
that's going to tie into our next thing here, and this is the first episode.
I wanted to go back to one thing with finding balance and getting in the gym. Some things, or just one tip that helps if you think about 1 week at a time. Like set yourself goals for 1 week. Yeah. So I have an accountability partner in the gym right now that Stacy Forshaw, you know who you are, but her and I have been helping each other. So at the beginning of each week, we kind of throw out like 3 to 5 intentions of things we want to be reminded of and asked about each week. And so she tells me her workout time she's going to be here. I send her a text 1 hour before her class, and I remind her to get to class. So find someone like that in the gym with you. Set small, actionable goals, just 1 week at a time. Set up your workout days ahead of time. Think about your nutrition ahead of time. Little baby steps, and then the next week do it again. So don't think like, I gotta work out 3 months, I can't miss a day. Just take it 1 week at a time. Yeah.
All right, so the next
segue
here. Episode 1, a knee replacement journey. So let me give the intro here. So Dawn, my lovely wife, for always been an athlete, always been able to work really hard and do a lot of things in the gym, right? A lot of more advanced movements and stuff. She had an injury early on in childhood that was to her knee, an ACL injury. Later on in life, about probably 10 years ago, you had a low back injury, which these pull in opposite directions. The ACL injury never quite healed correctly. I mean, it healed, but very limited range of motion. And you just grit and bared it through, lots of pain, and really impressed with your pain level that you can deal with here. However, it's recently becoming pretty bad, to where if you've seen her in the gym and you work out with her in the gym, you realize that she's been having to modify a lot of movements that she normally used to be able to do really fast, really well, but they're really painful, and we recognize it's this injury down here causing this. And so we went to a doctor to just get an update on where she was. You're 47 now, almost 48, right? Is that right?
I think I just turned 47.
Yeah, you just turned 47. Almost 48, thank you. That's right, we just had a birthday there. I go another year. So, and she's full bone on bone on her knee. And total, lots of pain, which is causing her hip to push out a little bit. Combine that with the low back injury, and you just have a lot of problems in that system between the low back, hip, and the knee. And so after we talked to the doctor, and like, yeah, you're bone on bone, you're definitely going to need a knee replacement, and I think you're 8 degrees, and like 11 degrees was like instantaneous, we got to do this.
Right.
And her quality of life is not what it should be. We walk a lot, we like to go for hikes, but even a walk around the block causes you pain, right? You don't run anymore, and running can really add to that stuff. So we've made a decision that it's time to address this, because we want to live our life now. And so episode 1 is introducing this concept, and then we're going to walk you through the journey from selecting the provider to the process to the post-recovery. And so as you look through these videos, if you see a knee replacement journey, episode 2, episode 3, realize we're going to talk about it during that time. My goal for you is to have it done before the end of November, and so we can get on with things and start the recovery process. Now, we've done knee recovery. We worked with people that have had knee surgeries before. We worked with people that have shoulder surgeries before. We know how to do this, but we've never had to deal with it personally,
Right.
one-on-one. So what do you got? Anything to add to that, or?
Very thorough, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing in us choosing a provider is one of our priorities, and what Sean is really just being in the medical field and knowing a little bit more, kind of sitting in on some of those Zoom calls recently with the ortho department. We want to make sure that we work with a surgeon who uses robotics now. Because what we've researched and read is that surgery specifically has much better accuracy
In the measurements, the angles and
in
stuff.
the fit.
Yeah. And
So working with the robotics, it takes a lot of the little bit of human error that can sometimes
potential
be
human
there.
error. Yeah.
So yeah.
And
So it's a big scary thing. It's kind of a long emotional journey. I mean, it's been 30 years since my original injury, and like you said, it's just progressively gotten worse. Where it's hard to sleep, and it's hard to do anything much in the gym with weight, and not only that, but I have such muscle atrophy in that
bad
leg, which is like making the whole body like overcompensate.
Now, the real thing to also remember is Dawn has been in the gym the entire time, and our goal is to continue that process. So I challenge you that if you're suffering through things, we modify for that, right? That's what we do. But we also are real. If you need to get a knee replacement like Dawn, let's modify for it. You better get in there and get that process going. Oftentimes doctors, if you're carrying a little bit of weight, they want you to lose the weight first, depending on how that looks, right? We can help you with that. I work at OMC. I'm really interested in the Smith & Nephew robotic system because I've done a lot of research on it, and it seems like the best way to go. But we are going to meet with someone local and someone out and make an informed decision as we go there. So
follow along.
Follow along. You'll get to hear that journey. Challenge update. Okay, if you saw Coach Cameron's video in her cute little photo there. We have a challenge update starting in August.
August 1st.
This is a great time for members to
weeks
get
from now.
back with activity and feeling committed, finding your why again, right? Come in, because it's a team of
It's
5.
a team of 5. So if you are struggling, you get a team of 4 to surround you, and they're gonna make you get in here.
And if you're not sure, if you're brand new, just say, hey guys,
I need a team.
I need a team. I don't have anyone yet. Anyone's welcome to be on my team, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I am gonna try it.
yeah, she's gonna try to row.
We'll
I guess
see.
she'll be on my team, right? Or maybe you'll have your own team there. So if you haven't looked in our Mighty Networks or at our challenge video, just look at it so you understand. There's also at the end of that video, if you didn't watch it, there's some technique on how to make your rowing a little bit better, right? Which is really good.
Yeah.
Featured product.
Mm-hmm.
Our famous acai bowls in the cafe. First off, what the hell is acai?
Acai is a superfood packed with antioxidants. It's a berry that comes from far, far away. But the interesting thing with acai, it's really hard to get. We've since
hard to
discovered. So it's either dehydrated and dried because the berry can't be shipped. It doesn't last. So they either puree it and freeze it, or it's dehydrated and it's a powder form.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the base. It's a really dark berry. It makes it almost purple black color.
Mm-hmm.
We also
You can see a little video over here of our acai bowl as we're talking.
Yeah, we actually add a little bit of
Protein.
frozen berries too, to make it really thick. And then we add protein. So you get a scoop of whey protein powder in that as well. You can add banana, you can add peanut butter.
Yeah, and really low calorie too. It's a really healthy option.
Yeah,
And
we top it with fresh blueberries and a little granola sprinkled on top. But it's thick, like almost like ice cream or frozen yogurt.
it really is. And
Delicious. It's a meal replacement.
To my knowledge, not many places, there's very few places that do acai bowls locally.
Yeah.
And I think we're the only one that actually makes it protein, where we put a protein whey in there.
And nothing else added. There's no sugar.
Yeah, it's just really, really good stuff. So come in, take a look at that. Remember, the cafe is open late at night, so you can come in anytime. You get hamburgers, all kinds of stuff, beer, wine, cider. Come check it out. Birthdays. You want to go over them?
Yeah. Jody Jacobson, Isaac Laharn, and Christy Ducote.
Yeah.
3 birthdays this week. Happy birthdays.
Birthday. Featured athlete, JT. She is my athlete at 5 a.m. I get to see her all the time. Her and her husband Tony. Great addition of the 5 a.m. class. Always there. Wink, always there. JT, you know what I'm saying.
She might be coaching.
She might be, yeah. And she has some other stuff going on too. JT has a famous stretch. If I can find a photo of it, I'll post it up here, but I'll look for a photo.
I think
I do somewhere, the JT stretch. So thank you, JT, for being awesome. Good
Go
on
read
you.
a little bit more about her in Mighty Network.
Yeah, and if you're new and you watch our videos and you're interested to come hear about us, it's super simple to do. You can follow along over here. You go to Storm King Athletic Club. The upper right, there's that free intro. You click on that. If you're a member, you go to member meeting. If you're a non-member, you just click on non-member meeting. You pick a time that works for you. Come on in the door. We just ask, be respectful. If you schedule an appointment, please be there, because we have to show up. We have to arrange our schedule for you. So make sure
shoot us a message.
Shoot us a message if things change.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great one.
Have a great weekend.
We'll check in next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.